setup here. Serral is not playing Zerg, he's playing Protoss. So Serral, he is switching to Protoss here for the 2v2s. And likewise, Mark is switching to Zerg. Okay, let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Breakwater, we have our duo themselves. We have uThermal and Goblin as Zerg and Protoss. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Finnish duo themselves. We have the blue Zerg player in ZhuGeLiang, and we have the blue Protoss player in Serral. Here we go. So again, we haven't seen too much of Serral's Protoss, but he has deemed it worthy enough to play here in this 2v2 event alongside his teammates. Again, ZhuGeLiang has been around for a very, very long time. If you were watching Nation Wars, for example, back in the day, ZhuGeLiang, he was the ace player of Team Finland, where Serral and where I want to say Wellmu was the other player, could be mistaken, but where Serral and Wellmu were struggling, that's when ZhuGeLiang, that's where he popped up. Infamously, of course, he defeated Su in Nation Wars. The ace player, Pappy, let's go. Also had some infamous ceremonies when it came to Nation Wars. Yo, I miss Nation Wars. It's been a long time. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But it's great to see him back. Again, ZhuGeLiang, for the most part, he's retired. He did retire from competitive play, but he recently returned for these 2v2s, for the 2v2s with Serral. So it's great to see these old friends still competing together. Serral, he drags ZhuGeLiang out of retirement. He's like, I need a pair. I need a duo. I need a teammate. ZhuGeLiang's like, he's like, what about Raynor? And Serral's like, oh, he's lost in the rift. he's in the rift. I need the next best thing. I need ZhuGeLiang. Fair enough, fair enough. Feels Raynor, man. Feels Raynor, man. As we are going to be opening up, we do see Mark, uThermal, going for a double hatch opener before pool, before gas. So very greedy build. I should say, sorry, hatch, pool, hatch opener here out of Mark. But very greedy, going gasless. Meanwhile, Serral going for a standard opener. Sorry, I should say ZhuGeLiang going for standard opener, hatch gas pull out of our Finnish Zerg player, likewise double gate out of Serral. Interesting. So 2-gate opener here, going double adept into Twilight Council from Goblin. Okay, so 2-gate opener out of Serral is a little bit more assertive, a little bit more aggressive here. Moving on with the initial stalkers, hunting down overlords. Meanwhile, Goblin going to be opening up double gateway into Twilight Council. Very interesting. Into Blink, I would imagine. Overlords are being hunted down. Bathing us from ZhuGeLiang. Ooh, are we going for a rush? I mentioned earlier that all-ins are a little bit more of a rarer sight. But ZhuGeLiang, there's no reason to get a Baneling assist early on without good reason. So I'm leaning towards a Bane bust. Another Overlord is being called out. Serral, he's denying vision, denying scouting. Golden moving in with double adept. But Serral keeps up. Serral is keeping up, and oh, okay, I assumed it was going to be Blink. DT's a Dark Shrine opener here by Goblin. Very cheeky build from our Croatian Protoss player. This is all on one base, by the way. He is not expanded. He has no natural. Oh my god. He has no natural, and here comes the Bane Bust. The Bane Bust is coming. We have ZhuGeLiang committing. Likewise, Serral does throw down, I believe, a third gateway. And Serral, he also moves out. Yeah, proxy third gate to reinforce, and it's going to be all or nothing. So ZhuGeLiang going for the all-in. And can they hold on? DTs, they will help, but the Dark Shrine is not ready. Yeah, the Dark Shrine is not ready. uThermal doesn't even have link speed. No shot. the greed out of uThermal. Remember, he did open up gases, so he has 0 link speed. He has no Banelings himself. Banelings, they do waddle in. They're going for the mineral, and they're going for the drones. Ooh, and they will connect. Yeah, brutal connections. Drones do go down. And uThermal, he has been far too greedy here. He has slow links to support. He barely has anything to support, really. Dark Shrine is now done. We have adepts across the map. They are getting some damage done, don't get me wrong. DT to defend. Uh-oh. And the Dark Templar. Are they going to be enough? As there's just so many links and so many stalkers. As Serral pushing forward, cashes out the Overlords. Oof. Going for the expansions. We can see uThermal trying to hold on here with his Lings, doing whatever he can, but he will lose everything. He'll lose everything here at the third, everything at the natural. Meanwhile, detection's on the way. We have a Robo from Serral. We have the Lair from ZhuGeLiang. And DTs may eventually defend, but I don't think it's going to stop these bases from going down. As her third hatchery falls. ZhuGeLiang retreats. Goblin, he's got a lot of work to do with his Dark Templar. Let's go. DTs, they move out. They're going for the Robo. Let's go. Robo's under fire. But there are spores. There are spores. Lair's almost done. Lings, they do... Oh! Try to hit the natural. Stalkers, they're still across the map. Serral did not turn around. And he's going for the natural. Yeah, he's just crippling uThermal. And the natural base is going to fall. uThermal, he will kill the third of ZhuGeLiang. He tries to, and he's not going to get it. Not going to get it. Robo did go down. Serral, he is struggling to deal with this, but the spore's in position. Whew. Serral, he defends. Overseer's on the way. And once the Overseers arrive, that's the only thing keeping uThermal and Goblin in this game, is that our Templar. And does get this around, almost. I mean, these aren't the worst trades. They're catching out Serral, they're forcing the recall. That's what, 3 Stalkers escaping. But ZhuGeLiang, he's getting out of hand. He's getting out of control. Overseer defends. ZhuGeLiang, he moves out to catch out the army. Waiting for support. Waiting for the Overseers. There's the recall. And I don't see uThermal or Goblin ever expanding. Like, they're gonna be stuck on one base. They're gonna try to. Stalkers get caught out. Blink is just out finishing. Not bad. Blink does finish up in time. Okay, okay. Goblin, he can hold his own. uThermal goes for a run by. Serral, he does hold. Does deflect. ZhuGeLiang races back home. Hey, that uThermal, Goblin, they're expanding. They're getting their naturals. Let's go. They're getting their natural bases. They're getting a couple of worker kills. We're in a really weird game state here. I still do give the edge here to both ZhuGeLiang and Serral, 100%. I do give them the edge. But Serral, he's only on one base. He doesn't have his own natural. ZhuGeLiang gonna be carrying. I mean, hey, he's the ace from Finland, true. Let's go. You don't get better than ZhuGeLiang. He's moving out. Serral coming into support. Hey, he's got his one immortal. Does engage with the main army. Oof. Archons, they thrown away the Link Bane. Nice target firing there on the Immortal. Oof. Spanings do crash in. Yeah, and with that Goblin, he should be able to hold on. Lings, they attempt to reinforce, but alas, Serral just doesn't have enough Stalkers. It doesn't have enough. Gonna be forced back. Whew, Goblin, he's holding. And GG gets caught. Let's go. He holds. He survives. He gets his natural. Whew, and Goblin and uThermal, they take game 1. Oh my god. GG. GG, well played. Very intense game there. Again, a Goblin, he was able to make use of those DTs. Those Archons did a great job at zoning away the Ling Bane, at protecting his Stalkers. uThermal, yeah, he had his role with his Ling Bane for sure. But for the most part, Goblin, he was able to make that stand, able to pull off that defense. More importantly, get his natural. ZhuGeLiang and Serral, they were all in. They were completely all in. Remember, Serral, he's on one base. He was on one base. He had no expansion. He had no natural. So Serral didn't really have any longevity in that game. It was all or nothing. And GG. GG, well played. Whew. That was close. GG, well played. uThermal Goblin, they take game 1. That leads us here into game number 2. It's going to be on Emerald City. And again, I'll be honest, like after they lost their expansions, I wasn't really having too much faith, but alas, in the end, the DTs, they bought enough time, and they did save that natural. That leads us here to our next, oh, okay. I think after game one, uThermal, he's like, I want to play some StarCraft. True, let's go. As in the top left-hand corner, we have our duo. We have our Terran and Protoss, not Terran and Zerg this, sorry, not Protoss and Zerg this time. We have uThermal and Goblin. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have their opponents, we have the Finnish team here. We have Serral and ZhuGeLiang. Whew. Let's go. Oh my god. Serral is going to be opening up on the low ground. Interesting. Setting up his gateway. Setting up here on Emerald City. I know that Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they have been playing some 2v2s, they've been cooking. Let him cook, Pappy, let him cook. Setting up in the low ground, and we'll see how both uThermal and Goblin will approach this. Now, against the double Zerg teams, they were very much so willing to embrace Skytoss and Mech. That is true, but against a Protoss opponent, that does complicate things, as Mech is going to be less effective. Less is less effective against Protoss, straight up, and likewise, if we see Skytoss from one, we could see a Skytoss response out of Serral as well. So we'll see if maybe Mark does open up Bio instead, does open up, with additional Raxes instead of additional factories. We'll keep an eye on it. For now, it's going to be a Rax into factory opener out of uThermal. Interesting. Does open Rax factory. Throws down the safety bunker as well. Looks like they're reading this as a hyper-aggressive opener, and it is 2-gate. It's a 2-gate opener out of Serral. Meanwhile, ZhuGeLiang does expand. He does go for a later hatchery, though. Does open up gas first. Ooh. So gas first opener here, and Goblin, yeah, scouted. Yeah, they scouted. That's why they're responding the way they are. They're fully walling off, fully walling off. Gas first usually means Bane Bust or Roach Rush, as Link Speed is on the way, and ZhuGeLiang, he stays in gas as well. Does stay in gas. Meanwhile, Serral, he expands. So 2-gate opener, Serral, he's expanding. So far, ZhuGeLiang, he's droning up. So this is a fake out, but this might just be a fake out because of the scout. Jesus, as we are very much so reacting quite hard to this. With the bunker, with the shield battery, double pylon, staying on one base, delayed CC out of uThermal. So far, so good. Meanwhile, Stargate opener out of Goblin. More of what we expect in a more standard game. But again, this is a very strong reaction. And the Goblin, he does probe scout. He probe scouts, he does confirm the timing of the hatchery. The third. Doesn't get eyes on saturation. But for the most part, they should recognize, oh, okay, like they're taking a third base, they're expanding, they're probably macroing. It's time to expand as well. They will take their natural. Natural's on the way. Yep, because they're behind, uThermal double expanding. Getting his natural and his third CC at the same time. Again, they are falling behind economically, so you have to do something to recover. And it is going to be Mech. Okay, uThermal is going double factory into Mech. The Link Scout does confirm the second factory. So the Finnish duo are more or less aware. Meanwhile, it is going to be Blink out of Serral, not Stargate. So Twilight counts with the Blink and the Blink Stalkers. Hallucination Scout gets eyes on the main base of Goblin. Goblin does make his way across the map. So far, Serral is keeping up. Does keep up, does zone away. Serral, he defends his main. And I'm curious to see how ZhuGeLiang will open up himself. We saw a Bane Bust in the first game, of course. We saw some cheese. But here, so far, just droning. There's no tech. There's no tech. There's no lair. I mean, ZhuGeLiang has a lot of gas. I will say that. A lot of gas, and more gases are being taken, and now we see why. Roach Warren. So it's going to be Roach play out of ZhuGeLiang. Hellions, they go for the dive. They get one. They get a couple of drone kills. Not bad. 2, 3, 4 drones going down. Getting up to 6. Ooh, getting up to 8. 9 drone kills. Nice damage here by uThermal. A strong start. We've seen this before. As Double Oracle hits Serral. Serral getting pulled apart. So is ZhuGeLiang, bleeding out a lot of workers. That's going to be how many? That's going to be, oh my god. Going to be 16 kills in total. Nice rising damage so far. Serral is building up. Catching out the Hellions. Not bad. They keep up with the rotation. uThermal, he pings the Queens. The Queens make it look like it's going to be a roach all in. Roach all in here out of ZhuGeLiang. And it may just be because ZhuGeLiang has no lair. I'm a little bit, yeah, no lair. No lair. It's going to be Roach Link Queen all in. And uThermal and Goblin, they notice. Yep, they notice in time. They throw down the stasis traps. Very nice scouting. I mean, again, hey, they saw the Queen. So they are preparing. Building up their tanks, throwing down their stasis traps. Third base is exposed, but the tanks will look to defend it. And the Hellions, they confirm. They confirm the rush. Serral and ZhuGeLiang, can they go for the kill? There are stasis traps. Does he notice? I think he does. So we have a field of stasis traps covering the army. Yeah, Serral, he pings. Ravagers are coming in. They deal with the first stasis. First stasis goes down. There's still, what, 3 more behind this. Does ZhuGeLiang notice? Oh! Going for the pylon. Baits out of stasis. 1 stasis left. The tank's getting a lot of damage done, but Serral, he blinks in. He goes to the dive. He gets 1. He gets 2. Takes down 2 tanks. Can he get the rest, though? Barely gets 3. 3 tanks go down. Serral running out of stalkers. As they're trying to force their way in, force their way in, another tank goes down. There's 1 tank left, and the low ground is going to be defended. Yeah, Goblin, they have enough. It's going to be close, though. Stasis is running out. Yeah, Serral bleeding out their stalkers, running out of Ravagers. And with that, they have defended. They have protected the third base. Serral and Goblin, they're running out of steam. Sorry, Serral and Goblin. Serral and ZhuGeLiang. Running out of steam, flooding with more Lings. Lings, they can help support. Behind the ZhuGeLiang, he's joining. He's joining up. Remember, the lair is just so late. The lair is late. Third base untouched. uThermal fully saturated. ZhuGeLiang does notice. Going for a Ling run by. Going for the run by. They have to do something about the economy. They get scouted. Hellions, they confirm. Stalkers are trying to keep up. Lings go for the mineral line. And uThermal, he has to evacuate. Does pull away. Does pull away in time. Behind this, what our economy is looking like, it's under 3 base saturation. Working out's actually quite similar here between both players. But uThermal, once he can get that third base up and running, he can skyrocket ahead. He's close, throwing down more factories, building up his tank count. Again, that was a clutch defense, but again, we saw Serral and ZhuGeLiang pushing up a ramp into, what, 4 or 5 tanks. Didn't quite work out for them. Have to pull away. Pull back. Droning, saturating. We do have Infestation Bit on the way here for ZhuGeLiang. Still Roach Ravager. Likewise, Gateway Army out of Serral going Stalker into charge. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's Goblin going into charge. Ooh, and I was curious what the Infestation Bit was going to be for. Was it for Hive? No, it's for Swarm Host. Swarm Host on the way for ZhuGeLiang. It's a good way to take advantage of a lower economy, as Swarm Host, they can gain value over time. We did see a lackluster performance of Swarm Host earlier in the hands of Figaro. Figaro had a hard time making use of those Swarm Hosts. We'll see if ZhuGeLiang fares better. You know, Serral going into his Robotech, into a Dark Shrine as well. Looking for ways to come back. Catching at the Hellions. Catching out some of the Hellions. More Swarm Hosts are amassing. Serral is still just committing here to a gateway competition. Just pure gateway, man. Let's go. ZhuGeLiang, he does spot the gold, and he's moving in position. Stormhost is still in the center. I'm still just waiting for to see their rotation, whether they go for the base of uThermal or for the gold. Hellions are dealt with. Likewise, Stargate on the way for Serral. You're always thinking about Skytoss. He's going full Protoss. Let's go. It's the Serral. Meanwhile, uThermal and Goblin, they push right down mid, right through the center. I don't think they know they're pushing into Swarmhost, and unlike in the previous game, it's a ground army for both players. There's no Skytoss, so these Swarmhosts, they can catch more damage, or they can just trade better here. And they're going for the tanks. The last tanks, they run into the Stalkers. Swarmhost, they're not really getting any damage though. uThermal does pull away in time, will bleed out maybe one. Yeah, one tank goes down. Meanwhile, Serral going for a counterattack. Goal base is denied. And Serral, he will get the mineral line. He will look to get the mineral line. Denies the third base of uThermal. Thermal, he pulls away. Golem pushing in. Locust Wave is about to reset. And this time uThermal, he commits in. A Thermal Goblin, they commit into the army. Locust Wave will gain value. Dives on the Stalkers. Oof. Pushing forward. Hellbats are in position, not bad. They defend the tanks. Meanwhile, uThermal running out of tanks here. Please had a lot of them. Still pushing through. At the same time, Stalkers across the map, they get defended against. Goblin and uThermal, they're breaking through. They're breaking through the expansion, getting into that third base. Serral just can't engage. There's just too many tanks. Comes in from behind, though. It comes in from behind. The tanks are going to fall. Nice cleanup. Does clean up all the tanks. Going for a counterattack. Swarmhost, they're still ready. Bear that in mind. Not a single Swarm has gone down so far. They still have value. They're going for the gold. Or the main army. Where are we headed? Headed for the goal base. Hellions are caught out. Oh! I saw the Swarmhost. Massive catch hit for Goblin. Oh, some mispiling here. Every single Swarmhost is going to go down. Oh my god! Yeah, brutal losses here for ZhuGeLiang. He's been building up the entire time. Meanwhile, gets the expansion. Goal base is denied. Goblin down to 3 bases. Top right should be denied as well. Same time at warping into the main. Recall versus recall. uThermal's tank count was reset, but he's back up. He's back up to how many? Back up to 13 tanks. Goblin has his mass gateway composition as well. Yo, we have the 1 DT. Forcing out scans. Keeping uThermal and Goblin back. Does keep them pinned. ZhuGeLiang down to how many? Down to 9 Swarmhosts. Sort of Ravager. Trying to catch out Goblin. Again, Serral coming in for support. There's tanks on the high ground. Yeah, Thermal does siege. Here comes that Locust Wave going for the tanks. It doesn't quite get them. Defends against the Locust Wave. What's important though here is that the goal base is going to be denied. At least that's their hope. Not quite able to. Milestone away. Massive Hellion counterattack. Does not get into the mineral lines. Not yet. Trying to rush past. And does bust in. Not too many drones here though. 8 drones. 8 drones going to be going down. Likewise, Zealot run by into the main. Zealot drop even. Wreaking more havoc. Forcing Serral all the way back home. ZhuGeLiang as well. And this allows Goblin to expand. Oh, that's 2-2 denied. Denies the upgrades. Goblin, he takes the gold. uThermal takes the center expansion. They have a solid economy. They're looking good. Catching out more Swarm. Oh no! Catching out the final Swarmhost. But Goblin is out of position and he just recalled. Goblin, he had just recalled. So he will lose both expansions here. I say that. Oh, coming in to try to save it. The Nexus is going to go down. ZhuGeLiang, he trades. Nice dodges. Nice dodges there from a Goblin. Avoids the piles. Stalkers are coming from behind. They focus on the Immortals. And nice pickoffs there from Serral. But the most important thing here is that Goblin, he still can't expand. He's still stuck on 3 bases. He's still stuck on a 2-base economy at this point. He just wants the gold. He wants the gold base. Goblin getting bullied. Meanwhile, I mean, uThermal had to reposition. He had to reposition to protect the gold. That means the planetary is going to go down. Nice rotations here by Serral and by ZhuGeLiang. ZhuGeLiang even. Knocking down 2 bases. Keeping Goblin and uThermal pinned back home. Now pinned back. Again, most of the tanks over on the right-hand side. They have to reposition. UThermal moving forward. He's spotted. He's spotted once again. Ooh, this time he gets punished. Goblin beating out his Hellions. Locust Wave comes in, going for the expansion. This time we'll knock at the Nexus. Gets low. Nexus does get low. Like by Stalkers, they poke in. Jesus, we're built back up into Swarmhost. 27 Swarm. Oh my god. He's back. The Swarmhosts have returned in the base. It's going to go down. It's going to go down once again. This time going for the mineral line first. Likewise, Storm Locust Waves. They deny any kind of reinforcements. Stalkers, they dive in. And how the turns have tabled. Goblin and uThermal, they're just stuck at home. They're stuck defending. They just cannot expand, cannot saturate. I mean, uThermal at least he has an economy, Goblin does not. And Goblin, his army size reflects that. He just cannot reinforce. Goblin, he's not really going to be a part of the next big fight. uThermal, he's maxing out. But Goblin, he just cannot sustain himself. Not like this. Oh. Getting another tank. Again, this is all just value, forcing friendly fire onto the Stalker army as well. We have attempted lurker switch here from ZhuGeLiang. Meanwhile, Serral getting into Sky Toss, fleet beacons on the way, second Stargate. At this point, uThermal's most likely feeding Goblin, giving him resources. And the creep is getting out of hand. Denying the expansions. Meanwhile, we have another Locust Wave. Locust Wave comes in. Trading with mainly Hellbats. Gets an Archon. Gets an Archon. uThermal's pushing in. There is at least some Immortal support. But here we go. Can uThermal pull this off? Oh, please, out of Thor. You can see the role here for ZhuGeLiang and Serral is just pick off one unit at a time. Pick off a Thor, pick off a tank. Just slow uThermal down. As oh god, as you cannot fight within range of the tanks. Oh, Jesus. You cannot fight within range. It's not going to happen. That's an impressive tank count. Goblin pushing forward, takes down the Roach Ravager. Locust Wave is getting ready. Gets a Thor. Gets one, gets two. Going for the Immortals as well, getting a third Thor. Nice pickups, takes down most of the Immortals even. And Goblin, he'll lose everything. He'll lose everything. They're fighting out of range of the tanks are too far back. Where are the tanks? They're not a part of the fight. Alas, uThermal, he was distracted. Yeah, Serral just going for a counterattack, catching reinforcements. Nice pickups. Going for the Thors. uThermal and Goblin, they just a rough fight here. A rough fight out of range of the tanks. Dark Templar are dealt with. Another CC goes down. Goblin uThermal, they're forced into an all-in. Yeah, they're out of money. They're broke. Logos away from behind. Gets another tank. Tempest rallies in. But honestly, really nice handling of the situation here from Serral and ZhuGeLiang. Just mass counterattacks, run-bys. Doing their best to avoid the tanks. As they pick up another 2 tanks. Temps are building up. Now the CC goes down. Waiting for that next Locust Wave. While they get another tank. And just over time, uThermal, he's just bleeding out his army. Oh, another Locust Wave comes in. Gets a Thor. Takes down the Stalkers. Does force them back. Another CC falls. There's nothing left. GG gets called. They get broken. And with that, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they force the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. They do tie things up. Again, a very intense game. There were definitely strong moments for both Goblin and uThermal, especially when it came to their first push, their first main move out. Winding it back, remember, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they started this game with an all-in. They went for a very committed all-in across the map at the third base of Goblin. They failed to break the third. They failed to break the tank line. And uThermal and Goblin, they had a stronger start. They had a better start. And with that lead, they were going for run-bys, going for counterattacks. Alas, they were eventually pulled apart, though. They just could not take their third and fourth bases. They couldn't expand. Specifically, their fourth bases. They just could not hold on to their fourth bases. The Stalker counterattacks, the Locust Waves as well, just denied that from happening. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to Game 3. We're going to be loading into Crimson Research Lab. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Crimson Research Lab, we have the Protoss and Terran duo. We have Goblin and uThermal. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have their opponents. We have the Protoss and Zerg duo. We have Serral and ZhuGeLiang. Here we go. And we have a series. We have a back and forth. We're going all the way to the ace match. Welcome one and all to Crimson Research Lab. A very interesting map. We do have shared main bases, we have shared naturals, and we have a pocket base available to one of our players as well. There is that pocket base. We'll see if ZhuGeLiang is greedy. We'll see if he does open up gasless. For now, going hatch first. Likewise, we have standard openers all around. Going for a single gas geyser so far looks like economic starts. Now, if I were a Goblin and uThermal, I'd be wary about being too greedy just because, as a reminder, Game 1, they were all in. Remember, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they did go for an all-in in Game 1. They committed to essentially a 1-base all-in. In Game 2, it was more like a 2.5-base all-in between the players. But just really a lot of aggression. A lot of aggression between Serral and ZhuGeLiang, both in Game 1 and Game 2. So I wouldn't blame Goblin and uThermal being wary here. As, yeah, uThermal, he does open up racks into factory. So going to be a factory follow-up. Delayed CC for uThermal. Meanwhile, Goblin going for the natural. Sorry, just opening the door. It's actually quite hot today. Land of Australia. And here we go, CC on the high ground. So again, just a more safe opener here from uThermal, going factory first into delayed CC. Goblin going for standard opener himself, going for the Twilight Council. So we have a tech of choice here from Goblin, going Twilight Council most likely into Blink. Meanwhile, we do see across the map Hatch Gas Pool into a third base. Nothing crazy out of ZhuGeLiang. Likewise, double gate opener out of Serral. Interesting. Moving out with his Stalkers. We've seen time and time again, he's just searching for any stray units, denying any kind of scouting, keeping both Mark and Goblin in the dark. As Serral does fan out. Ooh, and is... Okay. Does fan out. For a moment there, I was like, oh, is that a pylon? No, no, no. We're good. Overlord. Overlord instead. As Serral, he will miss the Hellions just barely. Does miss them. uThermal pings. He did not. Did not miss his Stalkers. From the side of Goblin, I assumed it was going to be Blink. No, it is going to be a Dark Shrine instead. So DT opener out of Goblin. Cheeky start, cheeky moves. Going for the Dark Shrine. We'll see if he goes unscouted. Meanwhile, ZhuGeLiang, he does somewhat drone, but we have some safety links on the way. Is moving out with, I say safety links, is going for aggression. They're going for the natural. We have a massive amount of links and our vanilla Stalkers here from Serral. Now Serral, he is expanding behind this, going for his Twilight Council. Oh, he gets locked in. Very nice force fields. Remember, there is no blink. Serral, he will bleed out one of the Stalkers. Tank does siege. And Serral has to get the hell out of here. Bleeds out a second Stalker. Another force field. Now Serral is locked down, but they do take down the natural. And with that, uThermal and Goblin, they're stuck on one base. Hellions race back. Gonna be cleaned up. As the armies are forced back home. ZhuGeLiang, he did invest into an extra wave of Lings. My biggest concern, of course, is the Dark Shrine. DTs are going to be ready here, and there is zero detection for the team of Serral and ZhuGeLiang. We have some safety spores on the way that will help, at least the Zerg side of things. What about the Protoss? I don't see a Robo. Don't see a Robo here from Serral. Link pokes in. Setting up back at home. There's our proxy pylon to warp in across the map. This is giving more time for Serral to maybe get a Robo. A lair is at least on the way. This is not going to be easy. Not going to be an easy defense. Again, the Dark Shrine has been done for quite some time, but still no Dark Templar. There they come. They're warping in. And they're moving out. And they should be heading for Serral. As there's a higher chance that Serral does not have detection. Oh, how about there's a spore on the ramp? Ah, that was the ping earlier. Yeah, the spore on the ramp. DTs, they confirm, or the hallucination confirms. Ah, there's no way in. Wow, there's no way in. The spore positioning too good. At DTs, they rotate over. They reveal themselves here at the rocks. ZhuGeLiang, I'm sure he's aware. Hopefully they notice, as there is no low position. We are working through those rocks. Lair is now done. ZhuGeLiang taking up into Ling Bane. Okay, notices. Does notice. And with that, the DC opener here of Goblin didn't really work out. Did not work out in the end. With that, his tech is going to be delayed. Getting into his gateway composition. Meanwhile, for the first time, we have some bio. For the first time here, uThermal, he does open up with extra Vaxes, does open up with Stim. As we've been seeing a lot of mech today from uThermal, not this time. Here we go. Hallucination goes in. Serral, he of course confirms the main, gets eyes on the setup, confirms the bio as well. Very important. They are now aware that uThermal for the first time is not playing mech. Oh no. You know what? I was going, oh no. Serral, he's covered in creep, but I think he likes it. I think he does like it as he'll blink over the wall. Threatens Goblin. Nice pickles here. Catches out some of the Stalkers. Catches out a sentry. He does a Stalker of his own. But yeah, it's Serral. He asked ZhuGeLiang, "Yo, can you cover me in creep? I feel like unclean. I feel wrong here as Protoss. I got you, Pappy. I got you. I'll cover you up. Ah, beautiful. Aye. ZhuGeLiang is here for Serral. Is here for him. Meanwhile, we do see ZhuGeLiang going Ling main Hydra. So Ling main Hydra here out of our Zerg player. Meanwhile, Serral himself going into a more... Oh, I was going to say gateway composition. Stargate is on the way. This could be the beginning of Skytoss. Could be the beginning. Working towards the fleet beacon. uThermal fanning out. Likewise, Goblin going for his own gateway composition into charge. So Blinkstalkers into charge dots into potentially Archon production here. From Goblin. uThermal's being active, he gets spotted by the Lings. I mean, again, ZhuGeLiang, he's all over the map here with his Lings, he sees everything. Does confirm. Pulls together his army. So needed his safe space. He did. He's like, I feel dirty as Protoss. Can you cover me in creep? And cleanse me? Ah. Beautiful. Both Serral and ZhuGeLiang setting up. I was curious as to what was... There we go. I was like... I was curious what was going to be done with the Stargate. Second Stargate's on the way. Fleet Beacon as well. It's going to be Skytoss. So Serral is building up towards Skytoss. Getting into his final form. Meanwhile, we have the initial bio opener here from uThermal, which didn't really achieve too much here. Was somewhat active on the map. Somewhat. So now they're just being more defensive. Because of this, both Goblin and uThermal, they are relinquishing map control. ZhuGeLiang and Serral, they've claimed that, taking more bases, taking more expansions, having more free reign, going for the gold. Tempest production has begun for Serral, building up his Tempest, getting to Storm. Gearing up, getting into his own Storm, getting to Tectonic Destabilizers. Meanwhile, they do collapse on the army. The tanks are exposed. The tanks are going to go down. Yeah, uThermal otherwise out of position. He was further back. Tank count gets reset. Does go back to the ramp. Will defend, but the base is denied. Oh my god, mineral line goes down as well. And this is all that Serral and ZhuGeLiang have to do is deny the center base. Deny the expansion. Meanwhile, they do trigger a counterattack. uThermal and Goblin, they break out. They break out. We need more Ling Bane. ZhuGeLiang can spend a lot of his supply here harassing the economy. We'll take down the Zealots. Zealots, they do fall. Likewise, ZhuGeLiang, Serral, they are building up their forces. Tempests are revealed. But now we're at the Skytoss. And uThermal and Goblin, they don't stop. They keep pushing. They want to punish, they want to break the expansion. I mean, now Goblin does have tank support. Tanks are here, tanks are supporting. Goblin dealing with ZhuGeLiang. Oh, Storm goes off. uThermal trying to deal with Serral. Forcing him further back, does stim. Oh my god, he does stim very far in. Oh no! Gonna get surrounded. Baileys, they crash on in, and they shut down the bio. uThermal is on his own. And Goblin, he gets the expansion, but uThermal, he will lose his bio. He'll lose everything here. The Marines, the Marauders, he got a little bit too excited. He dove too far in. And uThermal, he will lose his army, he will lose his tanks. They do get the expansion, but they have to get the hell out of here. As a recall back home. He's also harassing the mineral line. And now it's time for Serral to push out. Now he's built up his Tempest. Tempests have arrived. Gets 2 more tanks. Center expansion still not yet up and running. And Serral's maxed. Oh god, god. Serral, he's maxed out. He's got his Tempest, he's got his Charge lots. ZhuGeLiang has been struggling. Did lose his gold base, of course. Did lose his expansion. And in general, Ling Bane isn't really an army that has much longevity. It's an army that trades. But there it is. ZhuGeLiang has been building up towards Ultras. Ultras are now on the way. This is ZhuGeLiang's final form. Oh. Meanwhile, Goblin gets one, gets two Tempest. Two Tempest. Oh god, god, rushing through the storms. Takes down the High Templar. Takes down the Templar. Meanwhile, the mineral line is falling. Yes, Serral and ZhuGeLiang together, they bring down the expansion. Yeah, they're hindering Goblin. Goblin, he has to respond. He does fall back. Does fall back to defend. Ultras have arrived. Getting behind the mineral line. Some cheeky moves. Trading out some of these stalkers. Bringing up supply for more Tempest, for more High Templar. Again, Serral just refining his army. Oof. He's got his two High Templar to defend. Yo, Serral. He's playing Protoss. He's let's go. Defends the Southern Expansion. Ultras moving in once again. They do spot the Ultras. Goblin, he has to race back to defend. I mean, the problem here is that Goblin, he lost control of the pocket base, so this is just a big opening here into their naturals. So Goblin uThermal, they are spread thin. Goblin has got a couple of Thors. He is maxed out. And ZhuGeLiang is moving in once again. Catching out some of the bio, just distracting the Protoss army. Distracting Goblin. And this turns this into a 1v1. I mean, almost a 2v1 here. Yeah, uThermal, he will lose the planetary. We'll lose the expansion. And our red team, they're just being starved out. Goblin, he does rotate, does come into support. Does push forward, takes down two of those Ultras. Two Ultras go down at the same time. Ling Bane Ultra does come in from behind. And they're just being pulled apart. Oh my god, bust into the mineral line. SCV's gonna be going down. And they're all in. At this point, they're all in. Like, it's all or nothing here. Goblin and Mark, they have to commit. There's nothing behind them. There's nothing waiting for them back at home. Being forced into Ultras. Ultras, they just collapse on top of the bio. The bio army crumbles. Tanks are holding their own. Oh. Not a bad engage here. Thors are pushing in. But Goblin is just running out of his forces here. He's running out of Stalkers, running out of army. It's mainly Thor tank left. And it's not enough. uThermal in his own. He cannot deal with his Ultras. They come in from behind. They come back from across the map. GG gets called. And with that, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they will take the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. They will claim the series. Very intense game there. Alas, we saw that Goblin uThermal, they just were torn apart. They just could not defend that pocket expansion. Once that pocket base went down, they were just stuck at home, and they were just stuck trying to defend their main base and the front lines at the same time. They were torn apart. Likewise, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, it was impressive that they were able to gain map control. They gained map control very early on, so they just had mass expansions. Max expansions, a greater economy. They were able to max out faster, and of course, Serral able to get into his own Sky Toss towards the end there to max out himself. And with that, they were able to tear uThermal and Goblin apart. GG. GG, well played. A very impressive play there. Again, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they had some mixed results last month in the February edition with double Zerg, but here, now that Serral has embraced the Protoss, they make it to the semis. They make it to the semifinals here. Up next, we will be having our semifinal matches. We have our top 4 teams. We have Serral ZhuGeLiang. They're going to be going up against Laser and Skillus. Likewise, MaxPax and Spirit are going to be going up against Knight and Larry. Now, if you just heard the teams in the semifinals, you might recognize there is a team missing, Clem and Trigger. Clem and Trigger, they've made it to the finals 2 months in a row. So far, the grand finals have been Terran Protoss versus Terran Protoss, MaxPax Spirit versus Clem and Trigger. That has been the finals for January and for February, but coming into March, Clem and Trigger could not compete. Or I should say, Clem couldn't compete. If you remember at the time, Clem, he was actually playing in the TLMC tournament, in the Team Liquid Map Contest event that Wardy was running, that was actually coinciding with this tournament. They were running at the same time. So Clem, he had to play in the TLMC tournaments. He could not play in this month's 2v2. Because of that, Trigger, I believe he played with Coco, with Coconut Games, and they didn't have as great of a performance. They got knocked out early on, which means that Clem and Trigger could not make their return in this tournament. Couldn't make the return. Clem was playing in another event instead. Fun fact, MaxPax was also playing in that tournament. He was also playing in the TLMC, but MaxPax, he got knocked out early. He got knocked out of the TLMC a little bit earlier, so he could play in this event. Clem could not. Just as a heads up. So those are going to be our semifinal matches. And we need a moment to get ready. So for the time being, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here while we set things up, and as we near the end of the broadcast. We just wrapped up with the round of 16 with the quarterfinals. After the break, we're going to have the semis and the grand finals thereafter, so take this time to get some snacks, get some water, get some rest, get ready here for the semifinals and the end of the tournament. We'll see you guys after the break. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.